I often say good landscape photography is not about going to new places. It's about going back to the places we love. I believe the best images come from the best relationships. When a photographer has made a deep connection with the subject, whatever that subject may be, whether it's the relationship between the wedding photographer and the bride, the commercial photographer and the model, the pet photog and the cat or dog, the landscape photographer and the land, the wildlife photographer and the cheetah, wolf, or bear. Sometimes the connections are made fast, and instantly they run deep. Other times it's more deliberate, plodding, slow, and contemplative. Whether it's like love at first sight or a marriage that has seen many an anniversary, the landscape photographer needs to have feelings for the land. And when we find that we have those feelings, often we have emotions that become tied to the land. And when we find those places that we love, we seek to understand them more and more. We wish to know these places in all seasons and light. This is the relationship of photographer and subject that grows and deepens. And as the relationship deepens, the quality of the work improves. This is the love affair of photographer and muse. One of my loves is of the places where the ocean meets the land. This is fitting as I'm a Capricorn, water and goat, and fitting too because I live and work on the beautiful Hawaiian island of Kauai, where I have been a professional nature photographer for the last 11 years. Aloha, my name is Lee Scott, and I've started this YouTube channel from my gallery in Hanapepe on Kauai's sunny southwest side. Now you may know Hanapepe as the home of Stitch and Lilo, but it's also the home to a lot of great artists. So the next time you're on island, stop by. I'd love to share the gallery with you and share some of the adventures that I've been blessed to go on. Likewise, if you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content about photographing Kauai and the worlds beyond, subscribe to the channel. I look forward to sharing more episodes like this one with you. Now today's episode, I want to share photos from my favorite beach on Kauai, which is also my favorite beach in the whole wide world. These photos represent over 10 years of work, 10 years of going back to the same location time and time again. And this reflects the ideas that were expressed earlier in the video. Those ideas of the landscape photographer seeing nature as a muse, finding a special location that they have affinity for, and going back to that location in order to build a relationship and then deepen that relationship. It's as if it were a love affair or a great friendship. And I think it's important for the photographer to go back to these locations for several reasons. One, it feels good. Just going to these places helps our creativity, it helps us unload stress. Secondly, just because we go doesn't mean we're going to get that really meaningful image on a one-off visit. Sometimes the light doesn't cooperate. Sometimes the sky doesn't go off. We go anticipating a swell, but the wind's all on shore and it's junk and it just doesn't work out. So going back to these places gives us that opportunity to get the shot that we're looking for, but also we can be surprised by new things that happen only during certain seasons or when certain conditions just come together like magic. And then lastly, it's important to go back to these places in order to build a well-rounded portfolio. Now, I've been going to this special place over 10 years, and I've photographed it with a Canon 5D Mark III, 5D SR, 1DX Mark II, R5, and a Canon R3. So if you have any questions on those cameras or questions about the lenses that I've used, the water housings, the tripods, camera bags, whatnot, let me know in the comments and I'll do the best I can to answer those questions. Now going back to the images that I'm going to share in this episode, each photograph was taken from a separate calendar month. again over a 10-year period. Now each time I go, I don't get bangers. I don't even get keepers every time I go. But what I do get is the opportunity to spend time with a place that I love. And I know every time I walk down that steep trail to get to the beautiful beach below, I'm going to have a good time. All right, now it's time to share the photographs with you. And if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments. I'd also really like to know the places that you go back to time and time again. I'd like to know the places that you love, the landscape that you find affinity for, and the one that you go back to share and communicate with others some of your favorite places, where the animals and the landscape that you love are. All right, thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Aloha. The first photograph is from January. It's around sunset. The surf is powerful. It rushes around the exposed lava rocks, and with a wide-angle lens, I cannot get too close to the rocks or to the water, or I'd be at risk of getting pulled in. Every time you visit this place, it's different. On this January evening, the sun's soft light runs into a darkening winter sky, ominous and torn. February sees the mossy green seaweed cover the lava rocks, adding a bit of color onto what is normally wet jet black. A glowing line of warm light in the distance hints at where the waves break. Winter on the north shore of Kauai is all about the waves, and on this small day where the waves are not breaking too heavily, there is still a clear sign of their powerful presence. March. The sun begins to edge closer, and you can almost see it set over the ocean from here. In a few weeks, you'll be able to come here for reliable sunsets and maybe an evening glass off, a mellow surf session with friends and family. Ohana. The surfboard lies on the beach, waiting to be claimed. But we stay on island time, and there's no hurry here. We are lost in a moment, in a feeling, in a place that we love, lost and totally okay with it. April, and while the surf can still be quite strong, the ocean allows a few calmer or smaller days. On these days, photography can be made in the water. Now, I must warn you, the waves, currents, and riptides can be incredibly strong here all year long. There's no lifeguard on duty, and likely no help if you were to get into trouble. So please, if you do decide to photograph in the water or swim in any season, but especially from October to May, be careful. And always remember, when in doubt, don't go out. For these photos, I just love the blue. Just love the blue color of the ocean here. And in Soul Surfer, if you look up to the corner, do you see any faces? This is something that I'm always curious about. Why does nature reveal faces to us? What's the meaning of those faces? Is it spirits? Is it souls? Is it someone or something locked into the land? We'll revisit this come November. May, and the warm light of summer has returned to the North Shore. Evening here can be magical this time of year. Here, a ribbon of a wave crashes against the rocks. And in June, you can come to see the sunset from any vantage point along this magnificent stretch of beach. Afternoon showers are not uncommon this time of year, but they rarely last. So if you are out looking for a sunset to photograph, don't go in at the first sign of rain. If you don't like the weather on Kauai, wait 15 minutes cause it's likely to change. Like on the day I took this photograph, I had to wait out a passing shower, and I'm glad I did, as the rain clouds cooled this image down and add a bit of mystery to the evening glow. July. Summer is here, and the light on Kauai's North Shore can be spectacular. both in the morning and in the evening. Sweet golden hour in the land of milk and honey. But on a clear day, photography is done by 7:30 a.m. The light just gets so strong. But the ocean weakens and calm seas are the norm this time of year. These are the months, June, July, August, when you can come here and chill. Just be, and I promise you, there is nowhere better. August, and the weekend surf gives the photographer the opportunity to photograph in and amongst the rocks. It gives the adventurer the opportunity to explore, with caution and care, the exposed lava shelves that dot this beautiful location. For this photo, I'm all the way down at the far northeast end of the beach, a place that is often impossible to get to during the winter months due to the powerful north swells that pound and reshape this beach almost daily from October to May. When I took this picture, I was on my knees in between this group of rocks, shooting at f/22 to get the swoosh of the water and the whip of the clouds all in one rushing scene. The rocks serve to ground the image and act as a kind of meditation cushion, the stillness and motion. And just an aside, this is the first photograph I ever sold, so it will always be a little special for me. September, the fall. And while it never really happens here on Kauai, there are subtle hints that summer is fading into winter. The days get a little shorter, and every now and again you notice the air getting a little cooler when that alarm goes off for the day's sunrise session. In a different life, I was a yogi, and I've made 2 extended trips to India to practice Ashtanga yoga. First, to Mysore, and later I traveled to Goa. This photo was taken after returning from Goa, and after 3 months away, coming back to this beach, to this landscape, was like visiting an old friend. Some things had changed, but the love affair and the friendship remained. October. And like I mentioned earlier, Kauai really only has 2 seasons, winter and summer. When they start and end pretty much depends on when the first north swell or winter swell hits the north shore. In the winter, waves, and often very big ones, hit the north shore, and in the summertime, the surf moves south. I begin looking for north swell in September, and often the first winter swell of the season is one of the largest of the year. Like this swell that hit one October. Booming waves heard all the way from above the beach fall like thunder. On big days like these, I don't even take a wide-angle lens, as it's just not safe to be photographing near the surf. Danger awaits when big waves fall. In these winter months, I usually take a 70 to 200 or a 300 millimeter, and I look for breaking waves and compressed seascapes. But every now and again, a wide lens may pick up patterns in the sand. Look for lines like these, especially after swells when the sand shifts, and after rains when the rivers bring new sediment down to the shore. On this November day, I was spellbound by the lines I saw in the sand. At the time, I didn't see a monster or a demon when I took the photo, but once back in the Mini, reviewing the images from the session, I immediately saw it. I showed the camera to Naomi, and all she said was, "Satan, scary." On this morning, 5 surfers hiked with their boards down to the shore, and all they did was watch. No one got in the water that day. The swell was just too jumbled, too mixed and gnarly, too powerful. On days like these, we say only the gods have enough mana to surf. So I see this image of things unseen as a protector, as a sign and a warning to stay out and stay safe. Yeah, some days down here can be pretty heavy. December is here, and believe it or not, some of the best weather can be had on the North Shore this time of year. Here a big swell arrives with clear skies, and the Kilauea Lighthouse shines in the sunlight all along Kilauea Point. I find this photograph to be a happy scene, full of power and beauty. Mana at Third Beach, representative of Kauai. A happy place, full of power and beauty. Signified by this photograph, and indeed all of these photographs, this calendar of images from my favorite beach on Kauai. I hope you've enjoyed these secrets shared. Aloha.